Now, if you clicked on this video, you're probably thinking, okay, what's this guy on about? What's he saying this one thing that's keeping me from growing in my walk with God? What is this one thing that this dude on the internet's going to mention that is going to ultimately keep me from following God? And you might think that what I'm going to say is sin. And in a way that is right, but not for this video, because sin does ultimately separate us from God. In fact, that's what separated us from God in the first place, is we chose sin over God. But that is not what I'm going to talk about. It is not sin that we're going to talk about. It is the thinking of sin. It is the pursuit of sin. It is the constant thinking about things that are not from God, rather than are things that our flesh wants to do. Like, for example, I'm going to mention this, pornography. When you think about pornography, when you think about women or men that have sex all the time, or when you see in Hollywood movies these people that barely know each other, next thing you know, you see them wind up in bed having sex with each other, and they're not even planning on getting married. It's just they just do all these things. And it's like when you think about all of that bad and just slimy and evil stuff, of course it's going to keep you from following God, because you're not focused and putting your mind to things that can help you grow in the Spirit, which is love, which is caring for others, which is sharing the Word of God, which is thinking about the Word of God, which is going out and serving people, going and serving God through missions. Or you see what I'm saying? Like when you think about God, I mean, you think about, okay, is it better if I follow the Spirit? Is it better if I set my mind followed on God? Or should I live however? Now, granted, there are people that are going to say, well, Andrew, you shouldn't be telling people how to live. But the thing is, it's not me that's telling y'all how to live. It's the Bible. And people say, oh, well, the Bible's man-made. It was made 2,000 years ago by a man. Why do you trust something written by a man? And to me, it's like, it's not made by man. These were made by men who were eyewitnesses to what was going on. Right? Like the Bible we have now was made by people who saw what was going on. So, with that, we're going to get into some biblical evidence here, which is in Romans 8. And in Romans 8, 5 through 8, it says, those who live according to the flesh have their mind set on what the flesh desires. But those who live in accordance with the Spirit have their mind set on what the Spirit desires. The mind governed by the Spirit is death, but the mind governed by the Spirit is life and peace. The mind governed by the flesh is hostile to God. It does not submit to God's law, nor can it do so. Those who are in the realm of the flesh cannot please God. Now, if you read this, you say, well, why is it that this causes death? Like, are you saying that if we think about anything of the flesh, we're going to immediately die? No, that's not the death it talks about. The death it talks about is spiritual death, where you're not growing closer to God. Instead, you're killing off the spirit that's in you because you're putting a box around the Spirit by saying, okay, I only want you to do this, 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 and this in my life. I don't want you to control everything in my life. But that's not how it works. And that's not how a true faith in God should work. Because a true faith in God is where you allow God to control every aspect of your life because He deserves it. Because He is holy, He is righteous. And what He did through Jesus was something we did not deserve at all because of how sinful we are, because of how evil we are. And the thing is, you don't know more about your life than God does. God knows about your life. God knows what needs to happen in order for you to follow God. And the thing is, if you keep following the flesh, like thinking about pornography, thinking about lying to someone, having hatred in your heart, all of those things I mentioned are from the flesh. They are not from God. And more so, a lot of times, those things aren't even from the devil. They're from ourselves and our human nature. And the reason why we don't submit to God is because of pride. What is the one main sin that God does not like? pride. When we are prideful, we will not submit to God because, we think we know better than God. But that is not the case. It is not the case because, again, God knows what's in our spirit. He even knows what's going on in our hearts. You cannot hide anything from God. It does not matter how much you beg or plead or cry. God knows what you're doing. And more so, he knows what you're thinking too. Like, he's not stupid. He can't just see on the outside what you're trying to do. He even knows what your intentions are. And so that's the one thing that's keeping you from following God, is you need to stop thinking about the fleshly desires and wanting to do the fleshly desires. But it's saying you must focus on things of the Spirit and focus on doing what the Spirit wants us to do, which is to follow God ultimately and share the Word of God to as many people as we can so that more people can come to know Him. So, thank you all for watching this. I hope you all enjoyed it. And if you are single and you're wanting to know how you can find love truly, click this video up here where you will be able to learn how to do that.